Hey there, welcome back to the channel, Astrocartography with Helena, where we talk all about the astrology of place and location. I wanted to make this impromptu video tonight because Donald Trump, there was a recent assassination attempt on him. It's so unfortunate and sad that this is happening in the world. I think, regardless of what political side that you're on, we all need to come together in unity, in compassion. Violence is not the answer, violence is not the way. We all know that. But there is such divisiveness in the United States as a whole, and it's very sad where this country is heading. Honestly, we're going to see more division as the years continue. The first half of 2024 is pretty slow compared to what the second half of 2024 is going to be like. August is a pretty crazy month. We also have October, is going to be crazy, and November, the election, and then we're going to get into December and the Mars retrograde in January. We're in for a wild ride these next months. And I wanted to talk about his transits and what he's going through. I also, the night of the debate, I had looked at the transits like right before the debate started, just to see like what was the energy like of the debate. And yeah, it looked messy. And Trump's chart looked a lot better than Biden's did that night. And astrology is an incredible tool that we can use at our disposal to prepare for things. It's a tool, it's a practical tool. And so let's get into the astrology. I want to share this with you. I'm going to share my screen so you can see. Here we have Trump's birth chart in the middle. You can see that his midheaven here, the MC icon, you could see that is at 24 degrees Taurus. Okay. Now, I made a prediction a couple weeks ago on Instagram stories or Instagram. I said that Tauruses do not lose your heads. Why? Why did I say that? Why did I say do not lose your heads, Tauruses? It's because Algol, which is a fixed star, it is the most violent star. It's the most difficult fixed star in astrology. It sits at 26 degrees of Taurus. That's where it sits, always in the sky, 26 degrees Taurus. Trump's midheaven's at 24 degrees Taurus. But what's interesting is the transits that have been. Now we have this transit here, this Mars-Uranus transit. This is a Mars-Uranus conjunction because they're together. See this Mars? See how it's moving 19 degrees, 20 degrees, 21, 22? See how we're getting closer to Uranus? What does Mars represent? War, blood, fighting, aggression, volatility, especially when it's coupled with Uranus, because Uranus is unsettledness, unpredictability, wild events, wild shakeups that come out of nowhere. They're completely unexpected. You really can't predict a Uranus transit because they're always like wild card events. And Mars is, meeting up with Uranus at the time of the assassination attempt. Mars and Uranus were within 1 degree of each other, right on Trump's midheaven at 24. Now, this happened 2 years ago. We had a Mars-Uranus conjunction in Taurus, but it was at a different degree and it wasn't as close to Trump's midheaven. So let me show you exactly when this was happening. This was 2 years ago. So there's Mars in Taurus, 15 degrees. It made a conjunction with Uranus at 18 degrees 2 years ago. So I don't know. I would have to look at the news and see, go back in time and see what was happening to Trump in July, August of 2022, but specifically that first week of August of 22. I would need to do some research. If any of you guys love doing research or you want to do this, check the news and see what was happening for Trump during this time. But like last week of July, and specifically that conjunction was exact at 18 degrees, August 1st and 2nd of 2022. And that was happening also in his 10th house of career and vocation and work and legacy. How is he publicly seen in his life and in the world? But notice that his MC is at 24 degrees. So there was a 6 degree separation between that. When we go to now, Look how that conjunction is right on his point, his angle, the midheaven within a degree. I was expecting, so what I was predicting that something was going to happen with Trump. Either he was going to get attacked or there was going to be sudden, crazy news that would be really difficult for him. Mars is a challenge. Mars is something that's, Mars is a malefic. It's also his malefic. It's his most challenging planet in his chart. So when I saw this, I was like, okay, well, this is not good news for Trump. This is something that's going to be really difficult for him during the RNC, this is way more literal than what I was predicting because Mars is literally blood and violence and an attack. Mars is an attack. With Uranus, Mars Uranus conjunctions in history, we can see this throughout history with the US and just history in general. Mars Uranus conjunctions represent war. They represent attacks, sudden attacks, terrorist attacks, shootings, all of that. That's Mars Uranus territory when they get together. And it's interesting because the US natal chart has a Uranus Mars conjunction. And every time it gets activated, there often is conflict, which is why I am cautious and very concerned about the Uranus return of the United States starting in 2025 for the next 8 years, because it is, it can represent war, conflict, or just civil disruption, civil tension that's breaking out. So this conjunction was happening within a degree of his public reputation and the exact angle, the point of his career and how he is most seen publicly before others, before, the public stage. And I made a prediction, Tauruses don't lose your head. Why? Why did I say that? Because Algol, the fixed star that always sits at 26 degrees, so Algol's part of this story here. It's not just Mars Uranus, it's also Algol, because Algol's always at 26 Taurus. Algol represents beheading. Algol represents head trauma or violence to the head. Um, Algol also represents things like headaches and migraines on a minor level. Talk about modern times. Modern times, probably not going to get beheaded, but there can be like a migraine or a headache or like going crazy in the head. I personally natally have my sun exactly on Algol at 26 Taurus, and there's definitely that sense of like getting headaches a lot. I've been having headaches the last 2 to 3 days because this conjunction is happening right on my sun right now, exactly by degree. But also like going a little crazy in the head, like kind of overthinking things, stressing yourself out. That's kind of a modern interpretation you could think of as Algol. But Algol, if we're thinking about like what it literally represents, it represents beheading or an attack on the head. And this was happening. Exactly. And this Mars triggered that. The Mars transit coming close to that Uranus and that Algol just triggered this. And this is all happening on Trump's career. Now, August is going to be crazy. This is really the one transit in July that's something that's worth noting. But we're going to get into August and we're going to have another Mars thing come up. Mars is going to be conjunct Jupiter, which is like just a lot of intensity and a lot of heat. Jupiter expands and makes things bigger than big, and Mars is anger, tension, conflict, fighting. And that's happening right on Trump's Uranus, his North Node, and his Sun. But it's hitting exactly on his Uranus when we look at like this time frame of like middle of July, like August 11th, August 12th, August 13th. And then the exact day is the 14th, 15th, August 14th and 15th. So I'm expecting news to come out. I made this prediction, I think, in another video, but there's going to be something that comes out when we're seeing this. Astrology is really easy to delineate once it clicks into place. Like once you start understanding, like what does it mean when planets get together? What does it mean when they're hitting planets or hitting angles in a chart? Like the other thing is Saturn's retrograde this summer in August, and the other thing is Mercury's going retrograde. And look at this, guys. Mercury's going retrograde right on his ascendant and right over his Mars. Um, this just looks messy. I mean, August is going to be a crazy month for the news for sure. Middle of August. Um, And, that's just going to lead us into October, which is another crazy month. And we're going to get into the election. I did want to pull up, let's see. I mean, so Donald Trump has a Mars ascendant line going right next to Washington, D.C. and Pennsylvania, which, by the way, I'm not declaring this as a statement or anything, but U.S. presidents throughout history, wherever they have Mars lines in the world, often those are places where there are wars. So like, a president could have a Mars line in a different country in the world, and then the US gets involved in conflict or in a war where that president has that Mars line. That's something that is very common with presidents. The thing I don't love about Astro Gold is you can't zoom in, so I can't see exactly like exact towns and cities where this event was happening because I want to see those parents and see what was happening in that location. But really interesting to see that he does have a Mars ascendant line. With Astro Gold, they just added this parent update so you can see energies at a latitude, which is really cool, as well as aspect lines. But you can't zoom in and see exact small towns or cities. And so I wish this software did have that ability because I would like to zoom in more, but this is as far as I can zoom in. And also like measure the exact distance and see exactly which parents are where in which towns. But this is Astro Gold. If you ever did want to get this software that I am using, by the way, you can use my code Helena10 and get 10% off at checkout for this software. It's great. I use it for zodiacal releasing, progressions, all of my timing readings. I use it. And now the mapping software does have these parents, which is really great. And I also love that if you click on this little button, I can see all the relocated charts. So I can see like how someone's chart shifts and what new aspects are being made when someone relocates, moves, or travels somewhere. This is really cool. So you can see there's that new additional trine for Trump. The sun is trining his descendant out here in this part of Pennsylvania. Really cool. So that is it for this video. I'm going to try to get this up as soon as possible and then head to sleep. It's very late here in the United Kingdom. But I am on my Mercury line and I'm trying to be faster about, getting the news out there, getting the word out there, being a little Tweety bird and sharing the news as a messenger, that mercurial energy. So anyway, if you wanted to follow me for more, definitely subscribe, hit that notification bell so you don't miss any future videos. Stay safe. Stay calm, stay grounded, practice self-care this weekend. Mars is going to be exact tomorrow, Sunday and Monday. So try to take it easy. If you find that you're very reactive or stressed out or angry or saying things that you wouldn't normally say, or, acting in a way that you normally wouldn't act, try to take out that anger in a different way, like a dance class or get in a kickboxing class or put on some music and dance, really hard. But, the next few days are a time, Mars-Uranus conjunctions definitely represent more violence or just more tension in the air and more fighting and more conflict and confrontation. And so, as this is happening on my sun, I will definitely be laying low and just practicing mindfulness and peace and nervous system regulation work as much as possible. But I hope that this little mini video can kind of shed some light on what was happening and what was going on. Have a wonderful, peaceful rest of your week, and I'll chat with you guys soon. Bye.
Hello from Amsterdam.
From Brooklyn, New York.
From beautiful Ubud, Bali.
From San Diego.
I am in Iceland right now.
Shanghai. I'm in Paris at the moment. I am here on my Jupiter descendant line in Tallinn, Estonia.
Hello from Biarritz in France.